Rin from Hallowed Be Thy Game, and today I'm going to share with you hidden gems for the 3DS. Let's check it out. Welcome back to another episode of Hallowed Be Thy Game, and yes, I could not resist it any longer. I had to talk about the 3DS, and I think we're far enough removed from the closing of the 3DS that I don't know, I want to share what just absolute bangers the 3DS held, and today I'm going to be focusing less on kind of the better known hidden gems that I would consider like Radiant Historia. Everybody knows that's one of my favorite games of all time, but today I wanted to take a moment to shine lights on games that never got a fair shake or just were completely unknown. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you do, please consider liking and subscribing. It helps out the channel massively, and a lot of you who watch aren't subscribed, so if you're enjoying the videos, please let me know by subscribing. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into what is arguably my favorite console of all time. Now I want to ease us into today's list with an absolute wild game that I consider one of the most weird and obscure games ever to exist, especially for JRPGs, with Lord of Magna, Made in Heaven. This is an absolutely unique game, which, you know, in today's landscape is getting harder and harder to find truly unique playing games. This is a free-moving SRPG style of game where you command effectively your harem that you run out of an inn, and you go out on these battles. You'll be able to control the maidens freely on the battlefield, and effectively what you want to do is to build up chain combos by bowling your enemies into one another. So each of the different characters will have their own blast radius effectively, and you kind of want to position them in a way to, you know, blast enemies back and into each other and build up these juicy combos. But on top of that, this game has gorgeous character art and some really cool animated cutscenes, which I'm always surprised by. So many of these JRPGs that go under the radar have banging just animation, and I love it. I would love to have seen more from this. I think this is just a forgotten piece of JRPG history. I love this, and I think anyone would have a blast with this. It's definitely worth checking out, especially if you need something off the beaten path and a little weird. Now, speaking of weird, I gotta bring up Ironfall Invasion, or Gears of War on the 3DS. I've talked about this before in the past, but I'm not kidding. It's not a far stretch of the imagination to see what heavily inspired this game. And yes, it's Gears of War. Over the shoulder, big meaty steroid using Marines, and yeah, it's just crazy that this is on the 3DS. And yeah, you use the nub on the 3DS to, it works. I actually beat this game, and for everybody who's wondering why I would put digital only games on this list, just check the comments. I'm not going to be the one to point you how to play these games or where to find them. However, it's still possible to play even the old digital games. Ironfall Invasion is just crazy, and it's one of the prettiest 3DS games out there. I'm surprised it never became anything more, or at least got some ports. It's a fun game. It has some extremely kind of stupid, difficult moments in it, where you play as a character who's not wearing full body armor and you're fighting monsters. Anyways, yeah, it is a lot of fun, totally unique, worth checking out. Now, undoubtedly, one of the biggest crimes to ever occur on the 3DS is Ever Oasis. Now, I kind of was on the fence about putting this on the list or not, because I do think Ever Oasis and Fantasy Life are well known. I think Fantasy Life, with its recent remaster and a new entry that's coming out, a lot more people are talking about it, but Ever Oasis just seems to be sadly slipping into the past. This is a wonderful action RPG style adventure. It has so much charm. It's gorgeous. This is just a showcase of just the beautiful colors that can pop, wonderful cute animations. It's just an overdose of loveliness. I cannot recommend Ever Oasis enough. You can get this one physically, you know, same as Lord of Magna, Made in Heaven. I should have mentioned that. Totally a trip, and everyone who's played this game has sung its praises, and for good reasons. It's just absolutely worth checking out. And hey, maybe we'll eventually reach a time where 3DS physical prices will come down and this won't be so painful to pick up. But moving on, one of the rarest games on today's list, but definitely worth picking up and checking out, is Moco Friends. For anyone who's a fan of like catch-a-thons, Pokemon type games, maybe Digimon style games, you definitely want to pick up Moco Friends. This was originally put on my radar as we were kind of looming on the end of the 3DS, and picking it up, you collect these plushkins. It's a very simple game. It's not extremely difficult by any means. It's very much geared towards a younger audience. But that doesn't mean it can't be fun, and it's an overdose of cute. It's just got a lot of style and charm, and I don't think it's one that we're ever going to see a port or remaster or any new entries in it. And that's kind of sad, because this is kind of like a very lovely game that just gone unknown. But for those who need more Pokemon-style games in their life, I would call this a must-play. Check it out. Now moving on, we have Little Battler's Experience, or LBX for short. This is for the mech lovers out there. Don't let this being a kind of kid toy centered style game throw you off. This is a very awesome, epic Gundam style RPG. And for longtime viewers of the channel, you know I can't get enough of customizing mechs, going out and battling, huge epic encounters. This game's got it in droves. Now correct me if I'm wrong, I have never seen the original anime or cartoon of this game. I know it ran, I believe, on Toonami or maybe it might have run on Toonami or Cartoon Network. I'm not entirely sure about that. I do want to check it out because I enjoy the game. But if you're looking for more action RPG style games that lean heavily into the mech style mechanics, this one is a no-brainer, easiest recommendation, and totally I think this game was just underrated. I feel like people were kind of aware of this, but no one ever really gave it the shot it deserved. Totally worth checking out. Now, when I look back at the digital landscape, one game that I think is an absolute crime against nature, it never got any bit of recognition that it deserves, is Sadame. I would call this game a bridge between Zelda: A Link to the Past and Diablo. It is wild. It works so well. Very simple combat system, but what you have is a very well-tuned Diablo-esque style progression system where you'll be going out and you'll be finding armor and currency to improve your character. There is definitely a very noticeable power gain. You'll be able to choose between 4 different styles of characters. For my playthrough, I played as a samurai. I'm wanting to go back and play as the ninja, I believe. But this game is just wild. It never took off. If any game on today's list, I think, deserves to be on the Nintendo Switch store or to have a modern port to Switch, it is Sadame. This deserved a physical release. I think it would have done wildly successful. So any publishers out there, I'm kind of asking, if not begging, check this game out. I think it's totally worth people's time. And if more people got their eyes on it, they would realize that true greatness came and went on the 3DS. Now, while the bosses can be difficult in this game, towards the end, it is a fun, addictive experience start to finish, and easily one of those games you can pick up, hit and run games, which I love, especially now that I'm a father and I don't have as long of play times during the day, as my insomnia helps me get through all of these long JRPGs for you all. But anyways, Sadame, absolutely worth checking out. Codename S.T.E.A.M is such a wonderful experience for any person who's a fan of like Valkyria Chronicles style of gameplay, and I believe that this and Fire Emblem had a pretty cool DLC crossover with amiibos. I believe that's what it was. Anyways, this game is just really cool to where you can have effective use of cover and battlefield and be able to move your characters around with different types of reticle type abilities, cover area of effects, be able to progress through each map. It's extremely approachable on the surface, but it does offer a really cool level of depth to later stages. Definitely one that I think has gone under the radar, and every time people see footage of this game, they're always curious of what that game is. Codename S.T.E.A.M. It is a great game for SRPG fans, for Valkyria Chronicles fans. I cannot recommend this one enough. Now, I got an extremely weird one for you here, but this JRPG is unique and fantastic. I've never played any of the other entries in this, but Culdcept Revolt. Effectively, a JRPG meets Monopoly. It definitely is not the easiest game on today's list. I don't want to kind of portray it wrong to you, but you have absolutely stunning character art, very serviceable RPG mechanics, a game that hours can melt away playing. Absolutely, for someone who's wanting to work their mind but have just some of the best character designs I've seen on the 3DS. It's a lovely game. Even though it's a little on the tougher end, I still think it's a wonderful game to play, especially for veterans of JRPG genre who are looking for something completely different that's going to challenge them and be a blast to play. Moving on, we have Crimson Shroud. This is an extremely unique kind of a D&D style JRPG. This was digital only. However, I'm still holding out hope that one day we might get more physical ports. I mean, there's been kind of a wild west of kind of remasters going on with the Nintendo Switch, and I think Crimson Shroud, Sadame, and another major game on today's list that were digital only on the 3DS, I really think they deserve just kind of new life in a physical print of them. Obviously, for viewers of the channel, you know I love physical gaming. However, this is a very basic style, D&D style of progression with combat, where it's very much turn-based. However, what's interesting is the way it's laid out. It's almost laid out as if you were playing D&D. However, I find this game to hold an insane amount of charm. I think the basic mechanics of this game are extremely well balanced and fun to kind of dive into and just kind of lose yourself in. And really, for me, the 3DS is kind of the king of JRPGs. Not a lot of people realize that. So many unique, exclusive JRPGs were on the 3DS that I think just blow the pants off of a lot we see on other consoles. Crimson Shroud, if you haven't checked it out or if any of this catches your interest, do yourself a favor and play it. Now, coming near the end of today's list, we have Liberation Maiden. This was made by Suda51. I had heard of this game in passing. I had seen some absolutely banging anime cutscenes from it, but I never knew what it was. However, I had the absolute pleasure to no-life this game one day, and it's honestly a short, contained, marvelous experience. And I'm not really into games that just use the stylus or games that just are digital only. However, this game is so wildly unique and fun to play. Yes, you're going to be using the stylus, and you're also going to be kind of working around a mechanic where you divert your shields and convert them to weapons and whatnot. It's wild. It's very weird. And what's kind of sad about this game is I don't feel it could ever be ported because it so heavily uses what the 3DS is. And honestly, at one time that really annoyed me. But as time goes on, I think it's great when developers leaned heavily into whatever gimmick Nintendo was throwing out at the time and made it work. And honestly, Liberation Maiden is a joy to play. I wouldn't say it's extremely difficult. I mean, if I can beat a shmup style shooter, it's totally doable by the masses. But I had an absolute joy with this. Like I said, there are some gorgeous anime cutscenes in this, and I would love to see more of this. Even though I don't necessarily think this could be ported to any other console, I would love to see it come back. I want to see more from this world. I think it's excellent and a must-play for 3DS fans. Now, before I get to the last game on today's list, I want to give a massive honorable mention to a game that I wouldn't necessarily call extremely unknown or hidden in any way, but I don't think it gets a fair shake. So I would call it a massively underrated hidden gem. And that would be Shin Megami Tensei 4 Apocalypse. I know for hardcore SMT fans, I may have just lost you. I am not saying this game has a better storyline than SMT 4, okay? That said, this is one of my favorite playing JRPGs, not only on the 3DS, but in gaming. It is just balanced and tuned in a way to where I come back to this game more than I do the base game. I know that's a little bit of heresy to say. However, this one's just fun to play. I love the collectathon of going out and getting the SMT demons and fusing them and going out, and the alignment system is really easy, so I can kind of turn my brain off if I want to get different endings. However, this has the absolute god tier Maru questline, and if you're going to look that up, just caution, okay? Maru is not safe for work. A ton of juvenile humor. SMT4 Apocalypse has a lot of charm. It's extremely well-balanced, fun game to play. I love the boss fights. I love the look of this, that PS1 graphical art style. I just want to immerse myself in it and just live there, even though it's an apocalyptic Tokyo future. Anyways, I love this game. I don't think it gets a fair shake from the community. Kind of a touchy subject, though. Now, the last game on today's list I consider to be the biggest hidden gem on the 3DS is 7th Dragon 3 Code VFD. This game has everything going for it. Absolutely stunning character designs from Shiro Miwa, one of my favorite artists, let alone game artists, out there. absolutely fun and absolutely an intriguing storyline. We're going to be hopping through time. You're going to be solving some existential threats, but the boss fights are so epic. I mean, the character building in this game is mind-blowing. It's the way it should be. You can make cool-looking characters, any class you want. It's absolutely fantastic. And the romance system in this is like, yeah, you can romance whoever you want. It's just, everything's there. Everything works for me. And it's so unknown. It's effectively a dead series, I'm afraid. And 7th Dragon needs to come back. It's that good. It's absolutely banging. I would call it one of the best JRPGs on the 3DS, period. Phenomenal game. A must-play for JRPG fans, a must-play for 3DS fans. It's where it's at. And with that, those are the hidden gems I think everyone should give a shot for the Nintendo 3DS. But this is obviously not an exhaustive list, so I'm hopeful that the community gets involved in the comment sections and shouts out some games that didn't get enough love when the 3DS was alive. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe for more Nintendo 3DS content. We're going to keep the flame alive here on the channel. I wish you all the best, and I'll see you next time.